Assalamu alaikum.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Hayya ala salah, hayya ala salah, hayya ala falah, hayya ala falah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. La ilaha illallah.
La ilaha illallah. Muhammadur Rasulullah. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Walillahi alhamd. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah alladhi anzala ala abdihi al-kitaba wa lam yaj'al lahu iwaja. Ahmaduhu subhanahu wa ta'ala wa ashkuruhu wa huwa ahli hamdi wa thana. Wa ashhadu an la ilaha illa wahdahu la sharika lahu. وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله ومصطفى. اللهم صل وسلم على عبدك ورسولك محمد وأهله وصحبه وسلم. Alhamdulillah bil alamin. We thank Allah Almighty always for the opportunity of bringing our souls back to our bodies, as to give us another opportunity to know why Allah Almighty brought us in existence anyway. It's a tragedy when this life ends for us and we're in the grave and we did this, we did that, we traveled everywhere, we met a lot of people, we did a lot of things, but we never knew who we were. And yet we were with ourselves 24/7 with the most magnificent being dwelling in us from the Creator Allah Almighty, as a means for us to know the secrets of the heavens and the earth while we're on earth. While we're on earth. This is huge. Allah sent 124,000 prophets to be among human beings to say, hey, you are the crown of creation. You are the only creatures that Allah Almighty has created among the jinn and among the angels and everything, to actually be able to represent Allah Almighty in its full perfection. And yet, we allow something inferior to us to control us, chasing the shadows of deception of this life, the illusions of this life, when the only reality of this life is Allah Almighty. That's why when a person knows themselves, they know their Lord. You know who you are and whose you are. The world as it is functioning from basically something created called the mind. Allah created the mind, and Allah said about that mind, this is a magnificent creation, the mind. But it can never reach anything except with that I've put into human beings that's connected to me. Why? Because that Allah Almighty has breathed in us only has the ability to know Allah Almighty. The mind being created cannot know only of itself, of its creation. That part of us that's from Allah Almighty is not created, and only that is not created can only recognize that that's not created. Allah gives an example. The earth. We see the earth. Everybody's seen the earth. Everybody's been to different places where the magnificence of this earth and these oceans and these mountains and these rivers and these lakes and this grass and all of these beautiful things and all the herbiage that's derived from the earth, and you see all these animals and all of these things that are subjected to man's living conditions that help man to be who they are, for human beings to be strong mentally and physically. But the earth takes its sustenance from the heavens. There cannot be any herbs or any vegetables or any fruits or any oceans or any lakes or any rivers or anything on earth that is subject to serving and bringing and helping to the health and welfare of human beings. It takes its sustenance from the heavens to the earth. By the same token, as marvelous as the mind is, as great as the mind is and able to bring about inventions and to make things convenient and to bring pipes through gas pipes through homes and electricity through homes and all kinds of things through homes. In order for it to fulfill its greatest significance, it has to take from that part that's connected to Allah Almighty. As above, so below. And so human beings don't get it. And because they don't get it, they don't remember to be, they're not reminded, and they don't, if they're reminded, they reject that the earth takes its sustenance from the heavens. The mind also takes its sustenance from the heavens, which is in mankind. There's a gap between the earth and itself and the galaxies and the heavens. It's such a large gap. But within the human being dwells heaven and earth. We don't get it. So the human being is threatened by the Lord of the worlds that created everything and everything between, that they have to bring a perfection in the world and represent His Creator, because the human beings have been given the wherewithal to do that. So why do we sit idly by? Why is the world divided and conquered by something inferior to us? When Allah Almighty sent 124,000 prophets, each prophet that Allah Almighty sent was to fulfill what went before, and to give something that is new. And to remind people that this is a oneness, that Allah Almighty is one, and that humanity should be one. The heavens is one. The earth is one. Don't you know the only thing that makes earth bad is that the human beings listen to that and obey that that's inferior to them? It brings the human being down from their thrones. It makes them ordinary when they have extraordinary powers. They're seduced by the material nothingness of this life. They leave their posts. They leave their Lord. They turn their back on their Lord. And so therefore, they're subjected to something inferior to themselves. Not to their Lord, but to themselves. Everything is inferior to Allah Almighty. But that we are seduced by is inferior to us. Then we complain. Why don't I have? Why do they have and I don't have? Allah says, I test you with evil, I test you with good. There are poor people that are happy and don't have material things. There are material things, people that have material things and unhappy. But then there are some people that have material things and are happy. They're the best of people evolved for mankind. They give out of what Allah Almighty has given them, because this is how everything comes. Like when the rain comes from the heavens to the earth, the sun comes out and it causes they call it the condensation. It goes back up, comes back down, goes back down, as Allah Almighty gives. And the earth gives, it gives back, then it gives more than it receives. So the earth and the heavens has this relationship of the giving and receiving, giving and receiving, giving and receiving. And from the time, Allah knows best how many years, the earth has been sustained by the heavens. And every human being's mind is sustained by something greater than itself. But when you forget about that, and when you don't draw from that, then you lose that. Mankind now, as a result of that, are losing their minds. They're becoming mindless, spineless, just waiting to die. So now they hear and they don't obey. Human beings, when they die, they're in the graves, they beg Allah to come back, because Allah Almighty showed them and asked them the questions. And the questions they are asking, that Allah is asking, from the time that you are in your casket to the time you go to your grave. At one time, it used to be when you're in your casket, and they used to walk you to the graveyard, but because things like the world is expanding, they can't walk that far now. So from the time that we get in our car, Allah puts in that, we put in that casket, and we take it to our graves, Allah is asking us 40 questions. And what's extraordinary about these questions? These are extraordinary questions. These are questions that people who knew themselves and knew their Lord was able to answer, because they were able to do it. Those who heard and did not obey and became lazy and crazy and were disobedient and only lived for their procreation and for their drinking and for their food like animals. When they were asked those questions, they didn't have a clue. Who are you talking to? You're talking to me? Then Allah shows us what He gave you. That's when the hell comes. What? I had that? You mean I could have represented you? You know, I could have been like those that I read about that I really didn't believe. They were parting the Red Sea. Those who were bringing people back from the dead and healing people and not being absorbed by the fire and bringing thrones and the blink of an eye. I could have been like them. Yep, they represented the best in you. Allah don't send anybody on earth that he raises up and he brings them to high stations that he does not invite others also. It's all just. Allah Almighty is Al-Adl, the just. He's just saying, don't forget about me. Because if you forget about me, I'm going to forget about you. If I forget about you, how far can you go with that that's created? You're no longer drawn from the heavens. If the earth only drew from itself, what would happen? Droughts. Droughts. Water would start to, even though the water, it's condensation, it goes back up, it wouldn't come back down. No more herbage, no more livestock. People would die. This is what happens to the minds of the people. The minds of the people form a drought. You have to understand that when Allah Almighty sent prophets among people, they were bringing heavenly powers to the drought. And we don't even recognize that. So when it comes, we don't listen, we don't hear it. All we have to do is apply it without question and just work. And you see the magnificence of why you were created. People go through this life and they stuck on chasing material things, never having enough. Even if they get it, they're not going to be satisfied because they're only drawing from the earth. There's a drought in their hearts, in their souls. They can never understand and know the wisdom of their own existence and why Allah Almighty is sucking up their drought, making a drought in their lives. So we die stupid, deaf, dumb, and blind. This is how we live. This is how we die. Then we beg Allah Almighty to come back. Allah says, why should I let you go back? You're going to be stupid again. You're going to be deaf, dumb, and blind again. You're going to be cheated by shackles of deception, thinking that you are your Allah Almighty, following your ego. That's setting up partners to Allah Almighty. Following your ego's desires. Because like we said before, even Shaitan is a servant of Allah Almighty, the gatekeeper. In testing people, he cannot test people without getting permission from Allah Almighty. The ego don't ask permission for nobody. It only serves its desires. It listens to no one. And that's when Allah gives us the fast to be able to control our egos, control our desires. So we may become servants of Allah Almighty. So we may draw from the heavens. Not just the earth. We don't get it. And that's why we keep suffering. People drew from Allah Almighty, it doesn't matter where you start from. Because we start from sperm drops, and people that they are born and they draw from their Lord, they do phenomenal things. They come from sperm drops and do great things in the world. All the prophets, peace be upon them, were sperm drops. All of them. And yet those who accepted their Lord through themselves did phenomenal, great things. They recognized guidance through their souls, and they never departed from it. They were responsible. They were helping people. I don't know no prophet that went to one or two people. They went to people. They went to nations of people. They went to that nation. And there were people there. And they served those people. And that's how they knew who come here, they become ascetics, they don't do anything, they look after the body, maybe one or two people, their mama, daddy, maybe their kid. The prophets looked out for everybody. Why? Because they represent the best in us. Shaitan looks out for nobody because he represents the worst in us. And he seduces our ego not to catch on to the reality that it becomes a part of the reality of drawn from heavens. It will actually outdo Shaitan. But Shaitan seduces it to only seek its desires. He just bribes it. Oh, I'm going to give you this. Oh, you want this? This is so beautiful. Oh, I'm going to give you all these riches. Oh, you're going to be a god. Oh. And we fall for that. And what he does is leave us in a lurch. And we end up calling on Allah Almighty anyway. Anyway. We've lost so much valuable time. We're a day late and $1 short all the time. And Shaitan continues to steal from us and us giving permission. Our ego opens up the back door to our treasures and said, take. Allah sends us guidance only to fight our egos. That's what guidance does. It fights our egos. It comes to train our ego. Stop sending yourself in a bad place, to a bad place. Stop sending yourself to lack. Stop sending yourself to confusion. Stop sending yourself to jealousy and ignorance, to arrogance, to pride. Stop sending yourself there. Why you keep doing that to yourself? Why you don't never have? Because you don't never give. That's why you got to give. And you got to keep on giving. Because you're going to always receive more than you give. Always. Selfish people, you don't do nothing. You don't help nobody. You don't stay with nobody to help them. You leave them. And you expect something to happen good for you. It doesn't happen. You're left without the support of the heavens. Now you sit yourself into a drought. Life does not come from droughts. Only death comes from droughts. Allah wants us to be vital and replenished. That's why he sends guidance among us. But we don't recognize guidance. So we stay in a drought. Till we get so out of a drought, so out of it, either, oh, help me. The help was always there. You left the help. Don't be calling the help like the help left you. You left the help. And we continue to do that and blame Allah Almighty. Why don't I have this? Because you left it, fool. That's why. That's why Allah leaves a door of repentance. You come to Allah sincerely, say, oh Allah, I was such a fool. I allowed my ego to cheat me. Please forgive me and guide me to guidance so I can receive the inheritance that you have for me, so I might draw from heavens just like the earth does. I want to be replenished just like you replenish the earth. We go through the beautiful earth and we see mountains, we see grass, we see rivers, we see oceans, and it's a beautiful sight, and the sun is shining, and the sky is clear, and it's so peaceful. Please, for the sake of your beloved one, please restore me to the reality that you intended for me. And take this sick mind out of my heart. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, wa lillahi alhamd. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa salatu wa salamu ala kareem al-saleen Nabi Ummi wa ahlihi wa sahbihi ajma'in amma ba'd. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Allah Almighty always says that I will raise up a people and they will not be like those who turn their backs on Allah Almighty. Through all times, Allah Almighty always raise up another people. It's another people that we're not like the people that turn their backs on Allah Almighty, and they may come from anywhere. I remember when my teacher, Shaykh Rashied, Allah continued to raise his rank, and he told me, he said, look for sincere people among Jews, among Christians, among Muslims, among black people, white people, red people, brown people, yellow people. Look for sincere, good people. Because Allah Almighty is ikhlas. Allah Almighty is sincerity. And sincere people are drawn from the heavens. They draw from Allah Almighty. And they may be, because of life, the society, and because of their environment, maybe they were cheated with their belief system. Maybe they believed in something that was not a belief system, that's all they had. So you may see people that are doing things that were decadent. Maybe they was chastised and went through some harmful situations, and yet they realize, oh, this cannot be. It must be a better way than this. Then Allah Almighty starts to attract them. Like in the time of the Prophet, peace be upon him, there were many people that were doing decadent things. Some of them were burning their daughters alive. Some of them were worshiping idols. But when the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, came through, he was able to purify their hearts and their minds, and they started to draw from heavens. How did they draw from heavens? Because they were listening and obeying what he was saying. And as they applied what he was saying to them, they were drawn from the heavens. They were drawn from the heavens. This is what people don't get. You cannot be stupid to believe in your Lord. You cannot be stupid to be able to get those high stations of life, the honey stations of life. You cannot be stupid. You have to be intelligent. You have to use the best of yourself. You have to give the best of yourself. And this is why Allah tests us. You can be going to the mosque, you can be going to Hajj, you can be fasting on Ramadan, but Allah Almighty sends the trials and tribulations on you from the way of evil and the way of good to see how you're going to respond. Allah increases and Allah decreases. Nothing happens that Allah does not know what happened. Allah hears with everything, hears everything, knows everything. It ain't like Allah don't know. It ain't like Allah hadn't heard it. But He tests us to see, what are you seeking? Based on what you're doing. And if you're sincerely going out and you're caring about people and you're helping people, then Allah Almighty helps you. And you realize that's a good thing. Then Allah rewards you. It's easy. Allah says, I increase, I decrease your sustenance. That's a done deal. That's a simplicity for some people. That's common sense for some people. But common sense is not so common. That's what wisdom is. That's the lost treasure of human beings. There's no way in the world that human beings should be divided and conquered. When Allah sent prophet after prophet after prophet, He sent the Injil, He sent the 25 pages of Abraham, the sons of David, the gospel of Jesus, the Quran of Muhammad. May Allah be pleased with all of them. Allah says there's no distinction there. They always drawn from the same Lord. So why are the people divided and conquered? So you have to understand this. People are divided and conquered because they stopped turning to those whom Allah Almighty had sent among them to turn them to Allah Almighty to draw from the heavens. They stopped drawing from the heavens, so they have a drought. Everybody has a drought. So everybody's stealing from each other, killing to take from each other. Because they're taking from the earth that's drying up their minds. Allah's servants always have the abundance. They test us. Yes, they test us. All of of them before Allah Almighty brought them, they were being trained. And maybe they were sheep herders. You training sheep, you keeping the flock together of the sheep. And you being prepared for mighty great things. Allah tests you with small things. Who are you going to look after? Who are you going to help? Who are you going to stay with? How are you going to keep these people to get to their destination? Then Allah gives you more responsibility. As He gives you more responsibility, He frees you of becoming freer. See, responsibility is not doing anything. So responsibility is going out and doing everything in your power to help people. But Allah tests you on a small thing. That's why Allah tests you with yourself, how you treat yourself, how you treat your family, how you treat the community. Then Allah gives you more, how you treat the nation, how you treat humanity, how you treat the universe, how you treat the heavens, how you treat. That's how you come up. Starts with you being responsible. You drop your buckets where you are. You do your very, very best for yourself by listening to your Lord in guidance. That's the way we come up. It's not difficult. وَمَا تَوْفِيقِ إِلَّا بِسْمِ اللَّهِ الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ الرَّحْمَنِ الرَّحِيمِ مَالِكِ يَوْمِ الدِّينِ إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ اهْدِنَا الصِّرَاطَ الْمُسْتَقِيمَ صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين.